Hi, my name is Tom Christian, and the purpose of this GoFundMe account is that about a year ago, I took an Ancestry.com DNA test on a whim. I was adopted at birth. I never knew anything about my biological parents or the circumstances surrounding my birth and my adoption. I've never been able to access any kind of records. And I had wonderful adoptive parents who were just great people and gave me a great childhood and a wonderful life. I have one brother who's also adopted. And so between him and my own family, my wife and my kids, that's really the only close family that I have. And so I took this ancestry test, and one of the things that I opted to do was to share my DNA results with other ancestry members. And that came back. It showed that I had a couple of matches with other people that I shared significant amounts of DNA with. And one of those people ended up reaching out to me and turned out to be my sister, Robin. And through Robin and talking with her, I was able to discover that both of my biological parents are still alive. They're not together. They are both deaf, and they met in Tucson, Arizona. They went to high school together at the Arizona School for Deaf and Blind, and that's how I came to be. And she told me that my biological father, Mike, had wanted to keep me. He wanted to marry my mother, and that just wasn't meant to be because her parents wanted nothing to do with him, and it just wasn't going to happen. So I was put up for adoption. And I've talked to Mike many times, and but before I talked to him, I talked to Robin several times, and at one point I asked her, she told me that I have 7 siblings, 2 sisters and 5 brothers. And that was quite a shock. And at one point I asked her, I said, so have you told any of these other brothers and sisters that they have this older brother who's kind of popped up out of nowhere? And she just laughed and she said, no, you don't get it. She said, we've always known that you are out there. Mike has always talked about you. He's always included you when he talks about his kids. And he's always had the hope that someday I would turn up. And so here I am. Mike is 76 years old. I'm 57. So he was just 19 years old when I was born. And he has health issues. He's got a heart condition and several other things that compromise his immune system. So it didn't make any sense initially to run down there. He still lives down in the southern Arizona area. And it didn't make any sense to go down there right away with this COVID pandemic issue and jeopardize his health. But now, a year later, I really feel like I can't put this off any longer. I would be devastated if something happened to him before I got a chance to go down there and meet him in person and hug him and just tell him that I love him and to thank him for giving me life. So what I've done is I've set a date for Memorial Day weekend 2021. I've rented a VRBO property that's big enough to accommodate everyone and their families. There would be something like 16 people. And several of the majority of them still live down in southern Arizona, but I have several siblings who would need to travel from as far away as Ohio and Michigan and Oklahoma, and myself and my family, we're going to need to travel down from Minnesota. So there's going to be some significant costs involved in that. And a couple of my siblings have just expressed that they might not be able to come because of financial constraints, and I don't want that to be a barrier to them getting down there and me being able to meet them and to fulfill Mike's wish of just finally having all of his children together in one place. So I work in special education. I work with kids with learning disabilities and behavioral problems and autism, things like that. And while it's a great job and I love what I do, unfortunately, that line of work is not a great money making gig. And none of my other biological family members are possessed of any great means either. So that's the purpose of this ask. I'm asking for $3,000, and that would at least help to defray those travel expenses and maybe some of the other things. And I am willing to do whatever I need to do myself to pay the remainder of the cost. But I I hate asking for money. It's just not in my nature, and I also realize that with this amazing resource of GoFundMe, that I am way down at the bottom of the list of people who truly need help and who are suffering and who deserve help. So I'm even a little bit embarrassed to be asking for something like this, but nonetheless, I'm just hoping that maybe there's some folks out there who have a heart for this kind of thing, and might be willing to contribute whatever they can to help cover some of those costs. And I just appreciate you listening for this long. I've gone on for way too long, but I just want to say thank you for listening and for considering this request. And God bless you and have a great day. Thank you.